Well, Saroya, first and foremost, it's so nice to see you in the flesh because I feel like I've been stalking your social media, as I should probably not say that on camera. But anyways, thank you so much for taking the time.
Of course. Thank you so much for having me. It's so awesome to meet you in person too.
I always like the first question, I'm like, do you know how much you mean to little girls that look like you? Can I start off with that question?
Yeah, I mean, I think it kind of comes to me as the time goes on and when I see their happy faces in the stands and things like that. But I definitely realize that I'm a trailblazer and a role model for these girls now.
What I love is that like you said it. And
Yeah.
sometimes people like they need to be like told like you're a trailblazer. You're like, no, you own it. You
Yeah.
own that about who you are, about what you have accomplished. I think let's back up though, because I want to know, how does a young, beautiful black girl get into hockey? Because I think we're slowly now having the conversation of black men in this space, right?
Yeah.
But then we're still kind of very far behind when it comes to the women representation.
Yeah, so I mean, my dad grew up in Scarborough, Ontario. My dad's black. Yeah, my dad's black, my mom's white, and he grew up loving the game and playing hockey within the city, like roller hockey, ball hockey, ice hockey, all those great things. He never really played at a high level or anything like that, but experienced quite a bit of racism in the sport, and he wanted to put his kids in it to prove people wrong, and I think we've done that thus far.
Yeah, I mean, that's one thing. For me, I'm my son, I took him to a hockey game, and he was like, Mom, I gotta like go. I want to go again. And I was just like, there's this feeling as a parent where you're just like, I don't know. But for him to have that courage to be like, no, I'm gonna let my kids play anyways.
Yeah.
What did that do for you?
Yeah, I think initially it was a challenge, and he was aware of the challenges we were going to face, but he let us know that we deserve to be out there on the ice just as much as our white counterparts. So I think for myself, I really had to grow, and it made me who I am today. So if I hadn't played hockey, I wouldn't be in this position.
And in terms of the ways in which you now are in a position to mentor young girls, what types of backgrounds are you finding that you're connecting with? And especially in the city, as I know with Saroya Strong, that's something that you're continuously focused and intentional about, and making sure that young girls know that they have a place here too.
Yeah, I think for myself, what I've realized is that that's something that I totally needed and really would have flourished in having if I had that at a young age. And I've noticed that the girls really need a strong black female role model in their life. Obviously, my mom's white. She will never know what it's like to be a black woman, and a lot of my girls are mixed as well. And I find that their parents are looking for them to have that strong black female role model, not specifically within hockey even, but just in general. I think that's so important that we empower each other as black women as we move forward, and I'm so happy to be that person for those girls.
I mean, I'm always curious because usually, and specifically with hockey, it's like you play just where you're wanted, right? Yeah. And there's not so much of like, oh, on the athlete side of being intentional about where you play. But you've now landed on a team that is super intentional about the ways in which they stand up for social justice, super intentional about, you know, how they empower women, how they want to continue to be in communities. Was that sort of in your mind frame and your mindset in terms of finding a new place to land in your second year in this league?
For sure. I think my team is super intentional, and I got that vibe from them the moment I spoke to our management. And I think for myself, I needed that representation piece, and I knew that I couldn't be the only one being in that representation spot anymore. I'm playing for 2 black coaches now, in which I've never played for a coach of color in my life, and I'm playing with another black player. So I think in regards to that, I think it's so important for us to move forward with the visibility piece. And for myself, I am so happy to be at home and in my hometown, and my parents don't have to drive 10 hours to watch me play anymore, and they don't have to cross the border, all that great stuff. And I'm playing in front of friends and family, and we're so happy to have this Toronto team be empowering other women within the city.
Well, you're also playing for like our GOAT when it comes to like community and you know, representation in this sport specifically. And Angela, tell me what it's like to just walk into a building with someone who is just so profound, so amazing when it comes to like, you know, you're looking at the stats of what she was able to do, what she stands for, but not as celebrated as she should. We should all be giving Angela James her flowers, shouldn't we?
For sure, for sure. I remember when they announced that she was going to be our assistant coach, and I remember reading it on my phone, and if I'm being honest, I completely bawled my eyes out. I was so excited and felt like I had another purpose in playing. I wanted to impress her. I wanted to be that go-to player, and I wanted to learn from her. And I'm still learning from her every day that I go to the rink, and I think it gives me a new sense of gratefulness in terms of being there, just because because she retired in 1998, and
Right.
that was the year I was born. So in that sense, I didn't have somebody to look to and watch, but now I get to learn from her every day.
Yeah, and I mean, we got to talk about the merch, girl, because
Yes.
first of all, I need myself a jersey.
Yes.
The jersey Aspire. But also, what's so beautiful about Toronto 6 is the partnership with Athleta. So let's talk a
Yes.
little bit about that, why it's so important for you.
Yeah, it's so important because we are on the same mission. They want to empower women and girls just like we do here at the Toronto 6. And I think that Athleta is the best partnership that we could have right now. It's more than your typical sports sponsorship, and they're giving us that investment, they're giving us that visibility, and we need that in women's sports.
Absolutely. I'm always curious, what do you ever look into the crowd? Do you?
Yeah, for
and,
sure.
And when you see kind of what that crowd looks like and looking back at you, does it make you feel just sort of a sense of hope of where hockey can go? I mean, it's so stereotypically white, right? But now you have multiple faces, women that look like you on the ice, and I assume that the crowd's starting to look like that way as well.
For sure, yeah. I see so many more diverse faces, even just walking into the arena, whether it's going to my game or my little brother's game. I see these faces, whereas when I was growing up, I saw one player and I probably knew who they were. And it's so nice to see these diverse faces, especially in the stands of my own games. I see my mentees up there, and I see that they can see themselves on the ice, and I hope that they dream to do that and aspire to do that themselves.
Well, Saroya, they have an amazing, wonderful example in you. Thank you so much for taking the time, and congratulations on all your success up to this point.
Of course, thank you so much.